Hello, it's Catherine here from Inky Fingered Cat, back with a Festive Friday project. So, for those that don't know, Festive Friday is something I've been doing for the full year so far, and every Friday I make a Christmas project, sometimes one, sometimes two, sometimes more cards. This time I decided to play with jelly prints and the stitched joy die, which is a Spellbinders stitching die, and as you can see I have done quite a few of them in advance, where I've just die cut scraps and then gone off and done the sewing. I did it when I was poorly actually in July, so they've been in the pouch for a little while, and I decided to pull two of them out to go with those red painty pieces. They aren't actually jelly prints, they were the wipe off pieces, but I went a bit heavy with red and pink at one point, and yeah, I've got some black stripes and bits and pieces on them too. I'm just creating a background really, so it doesn't really matter. So I poured out all of my scraps there of cardstock for me to decide how I wanted to finish these joy dies off, because they've got the letters for joy that then go down the middle of the panels. So I've chosen red and green. Why not? Go a little bit traditional. The sewing on each of them is slightly different, but obviously very much traditional colours in terms of the reds and the greens for the poinsettia kind of flowers that are going down the side. A couple of them have got sort of like white middles, and the others have got sort of the goldy colour, the yellowy gold colour. I die cut the word joy 3 times from each of the colours, and I am just stacking them up because there's a fair amount of dimension already on those dies with the sewing, so you don't want the sort of the letters to sort of disappear into the background, so to speak. I mean, they probably wouldn't because of the colour, but I just wanted them to be nice and stacked, giving them some lovely dimension. I love the fact that there's kind of like an imprint in these dies of sort of like almost a candy stripe. I think that's really cute. Just adds that little bit of extra texture. So I'm just adhering them all into place now that they're all stacked, and so we've got one with the red and one with the green. I got my J just a little bit wonky on the first one, but I managed to, I think, to rescue it enough that you can't really tell on the final card. Obviously I'm speeding this up slightly. It probably took me about 25 minutes to do these, but you'll see that this next stage is where it gets a little bit weird and I'm not quite sure what I'm doing. I decided I really wanted to use the Merriest Moments embossing folder. To be honest, it doesn't really show up so much in the end, and it's such a heavily coloured, pigmented piece at the back, and it's not all fully painted, so it's not perfect, but you know what, I don't mind, it works enough for this. I decide that I'm going to go and rub over it with the red from Distress Ink, and then decide that probably wasn't a clever idea because it's paint, and paint obviously resists some ink, so I do end up with mucky fingers for this. And also, apologies, my nail polish was sort of like half coming off on this, and I couldn't be bothered to go and sort that out before I started crafting. I knew I was going to get mucky. What was the point? So yeah, so some of my fingernails have got nail polish on, some of them have got half, and some of them got none. It's just a right old mess. I need to sort myself out. So yeah, so that was the Merriest Moments one that I decided to put behind one of the stitched die cut pieces. The other one I went in with this waffle flower snowflake sort of imprint pierced kind of look. To be honest, you again can't really see it on the end because it's a very effective little die, but on such a patterned, heavy coloured piece of paper, it really doesn't work very well. But you know what, it doesn't matter, there's a bit of texture, I know it's there. I still really like the painty look behind these dies. I think it just makes them a little bit different. Quite often they tend to be quite clean cut, the cards that people do with these kinds of dies, and I like to go in and do something a bit different sometimes, and in this case I went very mixed media with those painty pieces of paper. So I'm adding plenty of glue because obviously there's all that stitching and I want it to adhere. The high-tack glue works really well for this though, so it's perfectly fine. Apologies if you can hear banging outside, the windows are all open. So I've just had somebody, I think, doing a delivery to a neighbour, and it's just very noisy outside. Okay, so I chose to do one of the cards on square and one of them rectangle. So it's a 6x6 square, and I just cut another piece of, I think I went 5x5-ish, maybe 5.5 by 5.5, and then ran it through the embossing folder with the wood kind of effect. It's a 3D embossing folder, can't remember which called. I think it's called hardwood or something like that. But for the rectangle one, it's a 5x7 card blank, and I just went straight in after I'd mounted it on the white and layered it straight down. I did decide to add a little bit of doodling on this one. Again, can't really see it in the final piece, but I know it's there. Just adds a little bit of a finishing touch. I think if I'd have been thinking, which I've only just thought now, I perhaps would have sewn around that panel. That probably would have made sense, wouldn't it? Okay, I do really like the finished effect of these cards. Obviously those sewn die cuts just are amazing and I love them. You don't need to do much else, but I really like the texture and the difference that I got for these. Probably wouldn't go in with such a heavy red in future when I'm doing my painting and my jelly printing, but you know what, sometimes that's what you're left with. So I hope you enjoyed another couple of Christmas cards done for my stash. Please give me a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe if you want to see more. And until next time, bye bye.